Jason here. I'm along the C&O Canal here, across from Harpers Ferry, and going to do a little hike today. Up that way, Maryland Heights. I ate my sausage biscuit with egg and cheese on it, my drink with creatine in it, and some vitamins, and I took a nitro for the heart pain on the way up. And looking forward to this. A little bit of signage not far up the trail, discovered Harpers Ferry. You are here exploring Maryland Heights. Little description here of the trails and what you're going to look at. And be prepared. Trails have strenuous uphill sections, no restrooms, no water supply. Due to steep, uneven terrain, the trails are inaccessible to visitors in wheelchairs. Well, that's a son of a gun. Choose wisely. Choose wisely. I'm at the crossroads. Do I just go and see the scenic stuff? Or do I take the little bit harder way because I want to see some Civil War ruins? I think I'm going to go this way. The hard way. This is the same mountain road that defeated federal troops descended on September 13th, 1862, despite a 6-hour resistance upon the crest against a 2,000-man Confederate advance. Union defenders received orders at 3 p.m. to withdraw from Maryland Heights and fall back to Harpers Ferry in good order. 40 hours later, with the capture of Harpers Ferry by Stonewall Jackson, Union Commander Colonel Dixon S. Miles surrendered 12,500 men, including the 2,000 defenders from Maryland Heights. Might be a little hard to see, but there's the Potomac River right there. You're looking back into Jefferson County, West Virginia. I'm sure this is probably an awesome view when the leaves are off the trees, which I'll have to come back up here and check it out. From 1862 through 1863, the Federals built several fortifications and staked out numerous encampments on this rugged and remote mountain. Major Frank Wolfe of the 1st Massachusetts Heavy Artillery Regiment described the effort. The batteries were situated from 250 to 2,065 feet above the river, and the roads leading to them very rocky, steep and crooked, and barely wide enough for a wagon. Over these roads, the guns, ammunition, and supplies of all kind were hauled. This is the remains of a charcoal hearth, one of 57 recorded on the 760 acres of Maryland Heights. Colliers, the skilled men who made the charcoal, formed a hearth by clearing a level, oblong platform on the mountain slope over a 10-day burning period. A hearth transformed 50 cords of wood into 1,750 bushels of charcoal. Crude sled and wagon roads formed the arteries of the charcoal industry. After cutting a woodlot, laborers dragged timber downhill along a sled road to the hearth, where the colliers made the charcoal. Then via wagon roads, teamsters hauled the charcoal off the mountain to the ironworks. Over time, about 23 miles of road covered these heights. Many were later improved by Civil War soldiers. Some you hike today. After an hour and a half of stops, looking at stuff, reading, a flat piece of trail. Isn't it beautiful? For more than 3 years, May 1862 through July 1865, Union soldiers lived, worked, and played on Maryland Heights. They built numerous campgrounds on this inhospitable mountain that lacked water, level ground, or adequate sanitation conditions. The stone walls visible across the plateau mark the camp boundary. They may simply be rock mounds piled by soldiers while clearing a campsite. As you continue along the trail, look for clues of encampment such as stone foundations and ground depressions. Built in 1863 to strengthen a double row of rifle pits and to protect against attack from the north, the exterior fort consisted of two parallel rock walls or breastworks, about 530 feet apart. The south line, visible right here in front of you, extended 520 feet down the mountain's steep western slope. The north defensive work extended 560 feet. Together they enclosed about 3 acres, including a campground. Typical of such breastworks, these lines consisted of a thick, dry, laid stone wall that stood about breast high. A mounded earthen embankment covered the north side of each wall. Along the base ran a shallow ditch, described as a double line of rifle pits. These embankments provided protection for soldiers firing towards the north. The opening here in the south breastwork is the only entrance into the exterior fort. About 20 feet south are stone remains of the blockhouse which guarded this entrance. I'm assuming that these are the ruins of the blockhouse which protected the entrance, and this is the only area that looks like it's low which you could enter, and it looks like there are walls going inward right there. So there would be the blockhouse, the entrance, and then you can see this would be the rifle pit area. This would be the inside, since this is the south wall. And it most definitely goes down the mountain. There you go. You can see the rocks down there. It looks like probably the Park Service covered this with soil just to help preserve it and protect it a little bit and give it kind of a resemblance of what it possibly looked like. And here is the north wall. Remember, this encompasses about 3 acres. What you're looking at is the interior of the fort sitting here on Maryland Heights. This is the interior of the fort, the most imposing earthwork on Maryland Heights. This 9-foot high parapet and accompanying ditch defended the crest from attack from the north. The 5 embrasures which cut through the wall served as artillery positions for howitzer guns and later 30-pounder Parrott rifles. A Union recommendation that all plateau or gentle slopes between the crest and Harpers Ferry be held suggests the purpose and origin of the interior fort as a rectangular earthwork. Its defensive position included part of the mountain crest and a narrow plateau just below. Built during the winter of 1862 to 1863, it borders the exterior fort on the west and encompasses the stone fort within its southeast corner. Archaeological surveys recorded 13 powder magazines on Maryland Heights. 3 within this fort used to store gunpowder and shells. These 30 by 20 rectangular excavations were dug at a depth of 8 feet, supported by a heavy timber superstructure and covered with earth and sod. There's a sign nearby. It states this is a powder magazine, and more than likely That's a powder magazine also. Just looking back, and this is the outer wall of the fort. And this is part of the fort itself. This is the north wall. And it would go down the ridge over there. Over there would be the south wall. And this would be part of the protection of the fort. Well, here we are, the most easterly part of the fort. And obviously we didn't need to, or they didn't need to really defend too much down here. It's not sheer, but it's definitely difficult to come up. And what a nice view. Potomac River, to the left Maryland, to the right Virginia. We're standing in Maryland, and then the confluence and Harpers Ferry is over that way. And if you can see that little bridge over there, that's going into Brunswick, Maryland. Union engineers designed this defense as an infantry blockhouse to ward off Confederate attack along the crest. The Northerners completed the blockhouse foundation but never constructed its superstructure. By September 1863, the Union garrison had transformed the stone fort into a commissary and storage area. During an inspection in late April 1863, Brigadier General Barnard recommended a gun be placed at a high point on this crest, surrounded by a wall of sandbags, and arranged to fire not only on Loudon Heights across the Potomac, but into either of the valleys east and into the valleys west of Maryland Heights. To comply with Barnard's recommendation, Union soldiers mounted a 100-pounder Parrott rifle on this man-made platform. With the mountain cleared of trees, the gun easily covered 360-degree target range. "30-pound battery. Positioned here at the end of the towering plateau, this fortification was the first earthen battery built on the mountain by the Federals in the fall of 1862. Facing south, its guns command perfectly the summits of Loudon Heights as well as Bolivar Heights. A four-sided earthworks, the dominant feature of this battery, protecting the exterior slope, is a dry moat, the widest, longest, and most uniform moat on the mountain." We'll take a walk up over here real quick. So you can see, they could see all the way around with the exception of due north. But the other fort was up that way, protecting that area. And your gun set over in that location. And there is Loudon Heights. You can see the ridge through the mountain over there. And then Bolivar would be back over here. Maryland Heights. I got a little jumpy. I saw a dark log and I thought it was a small bear. Woo! Nice hike up here. Little strenuous for somebody like myself out of shape to take the blue trail. Very steep. It's not a goat trail, but it definitely is steep. If you just want to see the views, take the red trail and you can overlook the town and the rivers. The blue trail will take you on the crest of the mountain, the dark blue trail that is, and you can see some more of the Civil War remnants. All in all, beautiful hike. Decent time of year. The trees aren't full, so got a decent view. I'm sure the fall is spectacular up here, and the winter time with no leaves.